we've talked a lot about this butt class. Let's get into it.
Please
a
hear
little
it.
bit.
Okay, so hold on, let me take a swig.
Sure.
He's like, yeah, I got a story about a butt class. We're together yesterday morning. I was like, please just save it. Save it for tomorrow.
I've always told Dom about the anatomy lab with the cadavers, which I know we'll get into. But I told him yesterday, I was like, did I tell you about the butt class? And he's like, no, but do now. So every chiropractic school has their own technique, that they're founded upon.
Right.
So without getting into a long story, so Logan was founded on what's called Logan Basic Technique. So Logan's the only school that will put this class in their curriculum.
Right.
And so it was trimester 1, we just learned the history about it. And then it was the summer of my second year, we started the class. So essentially, I saw all my classmates' asses. Full ass. On a table, hiked up, ass in the air. And essentially you just have to touch the butt. I won't go into the mechanics behind it or the philosophy behind it, but literally, here's the crack. My thumb is right near the crack, pushing on what's called the sacrotuberous ligament. And I'm just sitting first time I pulled my friend's pants down, I'm just start laughing. And I couldn't help myself. Like, what else am I supposed to do? Like, my friend's hairy ass in my face.
Right.
And I'm like, what am I supposed to do with that other than laugh?
Yeah.
So we did that for 2 semesters. And I can guarantee none of my friends even remotely use that technique. I couldn't tell you. I don't even remember the assessment of it. I just tried to get through the class as fast as I could. But I did tell you I had to shit every time after that class because it gives you what's called a sympathetic response.
Right.
Where you push in and it causes you sweat and you just had to shit every time after that class. But yeah.
So when someone's constipated, just go and grab their ass.
Well, that's what the technique is really used for babies who are constipated.
Oh, okay.
And you kind of that's why you leave it there.
Right.
But people will do it on adults, and I don't do it. But yeah, you literally just Dom, if you want, man, we'll do it next Friday if you want. I'll hike you up on that table, drop your pants, and
I'll bring some tequila.
Yeah, there you go.
And some cigarettes after.
Something to bite down on. That's what you need.
That's a party.
Yeah. I remember my wife, when I would tell her what I was doing with that class, she just starts laughing. She's like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, do you want me to try it? And she's like, no, I don't. But we had a good group, so we would always talk about it, and then they would always get an understanding of what it was, and everyone just walked away like, okay, you're just putting your finger up someone's butt. I'm like, pretty much, yeah.
Right.
You're close. I mean, you're in there.
Nice.
And I remember my teacher came around and was like, you got to drive that thumb harder in that ass. I'm like, you shouldn't say that to a girl, first of all, that's doing this on a guy.
Right.
And it's this old, creepy teacher. And yeah, I'm really glad I don't have to take that class anymore, guys. Holy shit. And I'm just thinking to myself, my friends aren't going to believe this. When I go home and tell my buddies back home, what I'm doing in this class.
Right.
They're like,
You just got to take a picture close up.
yeah, that would be fucking great. Yeah.
No, we don't believe you. Yeah, you're not in a butt class.
No
There
way.
you go. Oh, really? Check
Trust
this
me,
out. Okay, so about the butt class, that's interesting.
Check
butt
that one
class.
off the box.
Yeah. So you mentioned cadavers. So let's
Yeah.
talk a little bit about your work with cadavers, and then also can you explain what a cadaver is to the people who may not know?
Sure. So luckily, I think very fortunate that families are willing to donate their bodies of their family deceased for science. I think it's very awesome, very grateful for that. And it's awesome because, so again, trimesters 1 through 3, our class had the same group of bodies. So we rotate through these bodies. And then at the end of our first year, so at the end of 2016, there's a service at Logan where they invite the families, they cremate the bodies, and they give them something so as a thank you for it. So it's really respectful and nice.
Oh, that's nice.
But so it's trimester 1, go right into the cadaver lab, and that's how we learned anatomy. So we had the lecture, and then it was nice because you could apply it through the dissection. So we had to dissect the human body. So semester 1 was back, legs, lower extremities, and arm. Mm-hmm. And we'll get into this one. Trimester 2 was neck and above.
Oh.
And that's the fun one we'll get into. And then trimester 3 was all organs. So, once a week we'd have anatomy lab where whatever we're learning in the lecture, we would apply it to the body. So we'd have to dissect, and then we'd have pro sections and lab practicals just to help us get a visual of actually what's going on instead of just looking at a book.
Right.
All the bodies smell like formaldehyde. Yeah. And I was telling Dom this, formaldehyde has something that makes you hungry. So you can only imagine being in a cadaver lab for 2.5 hours and then going to fucking house your lunch afterwards. Because you're fucking starving.
Right.
And you're starving. But so I told Dom this story one time. It was trimester 1, we were cutting some back fat, some subcutaneous fat off the skin, and I was doing with the scissors, like kind of just opening it up, and a piece flicked up into my friend's mouth.
Oh.
And he started like spitting it up. And he's like, what the fuck? I'm like, what do you mean, what the fuck? Why do you have your mouth fucking open?
Right.
Like,
you don't wear masks or anything?
No masks. You just kind
Okay.
of close your mouth.
Right.
People would chew gum too, I remember, which is just gross because now you're getting the formaldehyde in
Right.
your mouth.
Right,
gum.
right.
I was like, dude, close your fucking mouth. Like, why would you have it open when you're like staring over the back trying to cut it open?
Right, right.
That was funny. And then have you guys ever seen Dexter?
Yeah.
Okay, so it was in trimester 2, we were going through the cranial cavity.
Oh my God.
So what we did was we took like a handheld table saw
Yeah.
and cut the head open this way so the head would split open like this.
Yeah.
And I just felt, I enjoyed it. Like, I don't know if this is sick and sadistic, got my inner Dexter on, but I thoroughly enjoyed like going through the cranial cavity with a table saw. I don't know if that's fucking weird, but
I mean,
it was a good dissection. It was
Right.
fun.